Salut! I'm Sumo from FrenchArena. In today's lesson, we're going to learn all about telling time in French. On commence! Knowing how to tell the time and ask for the time is a very essential topic when learning French, as we use this in our everyday life. Whether you need to know it to meet a friend, arriving for an interview, getting a train ticket, or what time the movie starts, learning the time in the French language is very important. But before learning how to tell the time, you would also need to be very conversant with the French numbers. If you're not sure of the numbers in the French language, please click this video above to learn all about the French numbers. Like I said, if you don't already know the numbers, or perhaps you just want a quick recap, you can just click the link above to learn more on the French numbers, because this would help you in understanding how to tell time in French. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you so much for clicking this video. If you happen to love it whilst you're watching it, please give it a thumbs up, as this really helps the channel, and also share with anyone else who would like to learn how to tell time in French, and subscribe for more lessons like this. Now, let's start with the most casual way of asking, what is the time? You can use this mode to communicate with friends, with family members, or with someone you already know. The first one, il est quelle heure? Il est quelle heure? Or, est-ce que tu as l'heure? Est-ce que tu as l'heure? If you want to just be a bit more respectful and polite, or perhaps you're speaking to someone you don't know, you can use these phrases instead. Est-ce que vous avez l'heure, s'il vous plaît? Auriez-vous l'heure, s'il vous plaît? Or, quelle heure est-il, s'il vous plaît? And if you're just asking a very close friend, or perhaps maybe just your husband, someone you're really, really close to, you can just say, ta l'heure, ta l'heure. And so you might be thinking, okay, Sumo, but I haven't heard you say anything about o'clock. No, because in the French language, instead of asking what time is it, we literally say what hour is it. Hence the heure that you hear me say. We don't say o'clock, we say heure. Now, before we take a good look at learning how to tell time in French, I need you to know that French time is based on the 24-hour clock, like the military time. So instead of 1 to 11 a.m. followed by 12 to 11 p.m., instead it converts to 13, 14, 15, and so forth. Don't worry, don't be confused. I will take you through it properly. Let's get started. Il est une heure. Il est une heure, which is it is 1 o'clock. Il est 2 heures. Il est 2 heures. It is 2 o'clock. Il est 3 heures. Il est 3 heures. It is 3 o'clock. Il est 4 heures. Il est 4 heures. It is 4 o'clock. Il est 5 heures. Il est 5 heures. It is 5 o'clock. Il est 6 heures. Il est 6 heures. It is 6 o'clock. Il est 7 heures. Il est 7 heures. It is 7 o'clock. Il est 8 heures. Il est 8 heures. It is 8 o'clock. Il est 9 heures. Il est 9 heures. It is 9 o'clock. Il est 10 heures. Il est 10 heures. It is 10 o'clock. Il est 11 heures. Il est 11 heures. It is 11 o'clock. Il est 12 heures. Il est 12 heures. It is 12 o'clock. So we just looked at the time in the morning. Every single one I just took you through was a.m. So it is 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., okay? Now, let's take a look at how we tell time in French in the afternoon. Il est 13 heures. Il est 13 heures. It is 13 o'clock, or it is 1 p.m. Il est 14 heures. Il est 14 heures. It is 2 p.m. or it is 14 o'clock. Il est 15 heures. Il est 15 heures. It is 3 o'clock. Il est 16 heures. Il est 16 heures. It is 4 o'clock or it is 4 p.m. Il est 17 heures. Il est 17 heures. It is 5 o'clock or 5 p.m. Il est 18 heures. Il est 18 heures. It is 6 o'clock or it is 6 p.m. Il est 19 heures. Il est 19 heures. It is 7 o'clock or it is 7 p.m. Il est 20 heures. Il est 20 heures. It is 8 o'clock or it is 8 p.m. Now this is where it gets interesting. Il est 21 heures. Il est 21 heures. And this is 9 p.m. I'm sure you're like, okay, Sumo, where did that come from? Like I said earlier, if you do not know your numbers, please check out my video on the French numbers. This would help you understand how to tell time better. Let's take a look at 10 p.m. Il est 22 heures. Il est 22 heures. That is, it is 10 o'clock or it is 10 p.m. Il est 23 heures. Il est 23 heures. It is 11 o'clock or it is 11 p.m. Il est minuit. Il est minuit. This is, it is midnight, okay? So, was that hard at all? So do you see that it's quite easy to tell time in French until you know your numbers from 1 to 24 at the very least. It's easy for you to then say, okay, it is 1 p.m., it is 2 p.m. because you know you're going to be using 13, 14, 15, 16, and so forth, okay? Now, you might ask, okay, do the French use AM and PM? The French language does not have an equivalent of AM and PM. However, while the 24-hour clock is favored in most situations, you can definitely use du matin, de l'après-midi, ou du soir. I will show you some examples. For example, you would say, il est 8 heures du matin. Il est 8 heures du matin. And that just means it is 8 a.m. So it is 8 in the morning. Another example, il est 2 heures de l'après-midi. Il est 2 heures de l'après-midi. It just means it is 2 p.m. or it is 2 o'clock. The final example, il est 10 heures du soir. Il est 10 heures du soir. So do you see that you can use du matin, de l'après-midi, and du soir? Now, you might be wondering, okay, so how do we add minutes? So how do I say it is 2:55, it is 10:41, it is 11:19? Let me show you how it's done. It's quite easy to add minutes in the French time. So for instance, if you want to say it is 2:55 a.m., how would you say that? You would say, il est 2h55 minutes. Do you see why I say you have to learn your French numbers? Because you need to know how to say 56, 49, at least from 1 to 60, because I mean, that's where the clock ends. So if you have a great understanding of number 1, 0 to 60, it's very, very useful for you in telling time in the French language. Let's look at another example. Perhaps I wanted to say it is 5:15 p.m. How would I say that? Il est 17h15. Or if I wanted to say it's 9:30 a.m., how would I say that? I would say, il est 9h30. Il est 9h30. You see, it's very easy. Just mention the number after the hour. Do not forget what we said hour is in French. It is heure, which is why you're wondering, okay, so you're seeing this heure every time. In English, we can get away with saying it is 10. What time is the movie? It's by 10. What time are you going to make your hair? By 11. What time are you traveling? By 12. But in French, you always have to use the H. If you're writing, use H, but if you're speaking, you must say il est 10 heures, il est 11 heures, il est 1 heure, il est 2 heures, or whatever the time is. In English, we don't necessarily say it is 10 o'clock, but in French, you have to. Now, let's look at the fractions of time. For instance, you wanted to say it's 5:30, but please remember to always use this with the 12-hour clock. It's very important. So for example, for 15 minutes past the hour, we would say écart, écart. And I could say, il est 2h15. Il est 2h15, which means it's 2:15, which is 2:15 p.m. Another fraction is et demi, et demi. And this is for 30 minutes past the hour, 30 minutes past the hour. So for example, in case I wanted to say, il est 5h30, il est 5h30. That is, it is 5:30. So it's 5:30 a.m. It is 5:30. And the last one, moins le quart, moins le quart. That is, it is 15 minutes before the hour. So if I want to say it is 1:15, which is 12:45 a.m., I would say, il est 1h moins le quart. Il est 1h moins le quart. I hope you're loving this lesson so far and learning a lot. Please do not forget to give it a like, share with anyone else who would like to understand how to tell time in the French language, and most definitely subscribe. Let's continue. So let's take a look at more samples. I want you to have the perfect understanding of how to tell time in French. If perhaps you want to say it is 3:17 p.m., 6:21 p.m., 8:45, you have different ways of saying this. And to aid you, I'm going to show you a clock soon that will just help you see it better as it's written. Please note that in the French language, the abbreviation for heure is H. That is what is used when it's written, okay? But in English, we use the semicolon, but in French, we use just H. So if, for instance, you wanted to say it is 3:15, you would say il est 3h15. Il est 3h15. If you wanted to say it is 4:30, you would say il est 4h30. Il est 4h30. Or perhaps you wanted to say it is 4:45. There are two ways of saying this. The first is il est 5h moins le quart. Il est 5h moins le quart. Or il est 4h45. Il est 4h45. you see that the second one is like it is 4:45 p.m., which is it is 45 minutes to 5, okay? So il est 4h45. Perhaps you wanted to say it is 5:10. You would say il est 5h10. Il est 5h10. Perhaps you wanted to say it is 7:20. You would say maybe 7:20 p.m. Il est 7h20 du soir. Il est 7h20 du soir. Okay? Or maybe you wanted to just say it's 5 p.m. There are two ways of saying this. You would say il est 5h de l'après-midi. Il est 5h de l'après-midi. Or il est 17h. Il est 17h. Okay? There are two different ways of saying it is 5 p.m. And if you wanted to say it is noon, il est midi. Il est midi. Il est midi. So there you have it. Now you understand how to use the fractions of time, how to say 12:30, 12:35, 4:45, or any other way. However, I'm going to just give you more lessons. I'm going to tell you how to talk about the following times of the day, because this is really helpful when having a conversation with a French native. So for example, if you wanted to say morning, what would you say? Le matin. Le matin. So for example, you want to say, I have a class by 10 in the morning. How would you say that? J'ai cours à 10h du matin. J'ai cours à 10h du matin. Okay, I have a class by 10 a.m. in the morning. Afternoon is what? L'après-midi. L'après-midi. Evening is le soir. Le soir. Le soir. Night is la nuit. La nuit. Lunchtime is l'heure du déjeuner. L'heure du déjeuner. What is dinner? If you guessed this right, good. L'heure du dîner. L'heure du dîner. Okay, that is how to tell the time in the French language. Like I said, please do not forget you cannot leave out heure in French whenever you're talking about the time. In English, we can get away by saying it's 10 o'clock. Oh, excuse me, it is 10 p.m. I just said o'clock, or it's 10. You cannot say that in French. You cannot just say il est 10. Like, il est 10 what? Il est 10 heures. Il est 10 heures du matin. Il est 10 heures is imperative. Now, to round up and to make sure that you understood everything, I'm going to ask you just two questions. I need you to leave me the answers in the comment section below. Tell me, how do you say it is 4:12 p.m. and it is 5:13 p.m.? Okay, I've written it up here for you. It is 4:12 p.m. and it is 5:13 p.m. Tell me in the comment section below how to say this particular times in French. If you happen to love today's lesson, please do not forget to give it a thumbs up, share with others that would like to learn more about how to tell the time in French, and definitely subscribe. Once again, if you're not quite sure of your numbers or you just want to have a quick recap, please click the link in the description box below to watch my lesson on French numbers. This would be very helpful for you when learning how to tell time in the French language. Until I see you in the next lesson, bonne journée!